Don't argue with greatness. It's simply just that. Christmas Day 2025 was maybe one of the craziest, greatest games in the NFL and in the NBA. They had some of the best games with some of the best athletes in the world showing up, showing off, and showing why they are great. It was a heck of a day. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. Let's roll the intro and let's get into it. That is right, everybody. Welcome back to Inside the Zone with Mateo. Welcome back. Hope you guys had a blessed Christmas. Hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, that is. And yeah, I don't know. I had something else planned for today, but I said, why not? Let's just talk about the Christmas games because there were some good Christmas games last night or yesterday. That is, it's December 22nd, December 26th. If you aren't watching this live, this is the day I'm talking about. It's like a couple hours after the Timberwolves and Nuggets game wrapped up. But also, we had a couple other good games going on. We had the Vikings win over the Detroit Lions and knock them out of playoff contention. We had Travis Kelce's maybe last game in Arrowhead. We had the Spurs beat the Thunder for the third time in a month. And it's just loads to get to. So we're not even going to have a Mateo Show batting order today. We're just going to dive in. We're going to start in the NBA because I believe that's where, obviously the Timberwolves come into play. And, I'm a Timberwolves fan. I'm a Vikings fan as well. But, not really. But still, we're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about the Spurs. We'll talk about Wemby. We'll talk about Jokic. We'll talk about Ant-Man. We'll talk about SGA. We'll talk about all those dudes coming up right now here on Inside the Zone with Mateo. And then later on, we will talk a little bit NFL with the Vikings game, the Cowboys game, the Broncos game. We'll talk about all three NFL games, but only two of the five NBA games, I believe, are worth talking about because they featured the top four teams, in my opinion, in the NBA. Record-wise, I'm not quite sure if they are the top four teams. Yeah, technically the Nuggets. Technically, the Lakers are above the Timberwolves in the standings right now, but hey, they're tied basically. But in my opinion, the Thunder, the Spurs, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, those are your best four teams. Those are the teams that will make a run for a title, and they all happen to be in the Western Conference, which means only one of them will be representing the Western Conference. I have no idea who that's going to be right now, but it is only December, so we got loads of time to talk and think about and figure out who will be that Western Conference champion. But this was a treat. This was a treat, on Christmas Day. They scheduled the Thunder to play the Spurs, the Nuggets to play the Timberwolves. You got the top four teams in the league, in my opinion, playing each other. Then you also had the Knicks and the Cavs play each other. That was kind of a good game. Knicks came from behind in that one, but overall, I think those two games, the Spurs and Thunder, and then the Timberwolves and the Nuggets, have the most things to talk about. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do here on Inside the Zone with Mateo. Let's start with the game that happened first. The Spurs and the Thunder. As y'all can see, it's a 117-102 victory for the San Antonio Spurs. And the first thing I want to point out here is look at the first quarter score. Oklahoma City allowed 41 Spurs points in the first quarter. Oklahoma scored 36 in the first quarter, and then everything kind of died down. But in this game, Victor Wembanyama came off the bench. Wembanyama played 26 minutes, 19 points, 11 rebounds, 2 assists off the bench. He had a block, he had a steal. But if you're able, and by the way, all the games that the Thunder have played the Spurs and lost, they're 0-3 against the Spurs this season in about a month period of time. Wembanyama has come off the bench. Something to note. And by the way, they're 6-0 with Wembanyama off the bench. They're kind of they're in a hot streak right now. I think they are what are they in their last 10? They're 9-1 in their last 10. They have an 8-game winning streak currently. So hey, they're hot. You know who's also hot? The Nuggets are hot. We'll talk about them. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. Both of those teams sitting about 3.5 games back of the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were 22-2 or something like that, and now they're 26-5 with 3 losses to the Spurs in about a month. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, let's talk a little bit about the Spurs in this game, and then we'll talk about the Thunder. As I just have the Spurs box score open right here. You got Harrison Barnes playing 30 minutes, which I really, he's a starter for sure. He gets 15 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist. Luke Cornett, the starting center in replace of Wemby, only played about 22 minutes. So Wembanyama ended up playing more minutes than him, but he just came off the bench. I think they're just kind of easing him in. He's had some injuries. They don't want him to get injured. And they're just kind of easing him back in. I bet he'll be back in the starting lineup in about a few weeks. Probably we'll see 2026 when he'll probably come back into the starting lineup. Or having him off the bench is also very valuable as well. But Cornette had 6 points in 22 minutes, 4 rebounds, and 1 assist. De'Aaron Fox, the big name, 29 points in 33 minutes, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists. And then you got Devin Vassell, 34 minutes. He's really stepped it up, but not today. He had only 5 points, 1 of 6 from the floor, 1 of 5 from three-point land. He has 4 rebounds and 2 assists as well. Stephon Castle had a pretty darn good game as well, 19 points, 7 assists and 4 rebounds in 32 minutes. And then off the bench, they really only had Champagnie and Johnson and then Wembanyama. And I guess Dylan Harper also came out. So they're running about a 9-man rotation. Everybody played like a minute or two in like crunch time and just garbage time, really. That's why you see everybody played about a minute. But Harper had 12 points off the bench in 20 minutes. He had also 3 rebounds, and 2 assists. Wembanyama, we'll talk about him in a second. Champagnie, 20 minutes off the bench. He had 0 points. And then Kelly Johnson in 17 minutes off the bench. He had 9 points and 7 rebounds. But yeah, Wembanyama off the bench, 26 minutes, 19 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 assists. He turned the ball over, 3 times. He had 1 steal, 1 block, and he was a plus 13 when he was on the floor. Dylan Harper was a plus 14. And then Julian Champagnie was a plus 16. Those were the leaders in plus or minuses. And then all just the people who played garbage time were only a plus 1. But they still were outscoring the Oklahoma City garbage time people. But yeah, it was an overall really good game by the Spurs. I didn't watch it totally because we were doing Christmas stuff, but I saw a couple things. I mean, I just saw that San Antonio was just kind of beating up the Thunder, which in my opinion is really. I like it. I like it. I don't like the Thunder whatsoever. I don't like SGA, who was very quiet last night. But yeah, I mean, overall, this is very impressive that the San Antonio Spurs have beaten the Oklahoma City Thunder 3 times in basically 2 or 3 weeks, where a team had only lost like 2 times to the Trailblazers and the Timberwolves. Those were the only other teams that had beaten the Thunder, but then the Spurs can beat them 3 times, basically, doubling their loss total. And is this a concern for the Oklahoma City Thunder? I would say it's only a concern when you're playing the Spurs, because right now you're only losing to the Spurs. You're not losing to a lot of other teams in this blowout fashion. So now you just got to watch them tape, figure out what's going on. And Jalen Williams. Jalen Williams was asked what to change for the Spurs, what they need to figure out and what's the main problem. I'm trying to find it here. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Perfect. Let me just, yeah, that should be it. 17 hours ago. Here, I'm going to share this. There we go, full screen for y'all.
There's this guy on their team that's 7'5" and takes up a lot of space in the court. So that's that defensively and offensively play the team.
Okay. So I'm sorry if you couldn't hear that. I'm trying to turn it up, and I'll be quiet. But he was asked, why have you been losing, and like just what makes it difficult to play the Spurs. And I mean, if you already heard it, you know what he said. But and I hope you guys can hear it. Here we go.
There's this guy on their team that's 7'5" and takes up a lot of space in the court. So that's that defensively and offensively play the team. They kind of remind us, or at least me, of like my son. Did we root for someone else? Yeah, just how like together they play and they're like figuring that out as a team. Like they all do well in their role and they're like okay with that, which is fun to play against. Definitely gives us a lot to learn from in regards to that. So that's pretty cool to see it. It sucks obviously being on the other end of it, but watching another team that's over the course of just basketball history has always found a way to like figure out how to improve. So
I really like Jalen Williams. You know, Jalen, J Dub, as they call him, is always kind of positive. But the thing he said was, well, there's a guy, there's a guy who's like what 7'5" on that team and just takes up a lot of space. Yeah, so it does make a lot. It makes time harder. But I would want to say to that J Dub, he played 26 minutes. Sure, he was a plus 13. You lost by 15, so there was some points where he wasn't on the score and you were getting outplayed. But then he also said offensively they play together. They play together, and I really like that. They have a lot of good teamwork, and I do witness this when I'm watching the Spurs, especially the Spurs in general. I saw it in the Thunder a little bit last year. I see it in the Timberwolves kind of, but the Spurs, everybody knows that they want to play through the star, play through Victor Wembanyama. But when he's sidelined, what do? Well, they just all are okay with other people shooting the ball. They just kind of all serve each other and what do I say here? They all make the smart play. They make the smart play. They play for the smart play. They don't play for the flashy plays. They'll get the flashy plays. You all saw that Harper dunk from Wembanyama. That was pretty sick. But they're all skilled, so they're gonna get their plays. But they all are very unselfish and they're selfless. And I really like that in a team. And they're just able to move the ball really around really well. And I like that, and I think that's something J Dub was kind of hinting at. But when there's a guy listed around 7'4", 7'5", yeah, it does make it hard. He doesn't really even have to jump to dunk. Gobert doesn't even have to jump to dunk, and he's only 7'1" and he's 7'2", and he's a problem to some people. And the funny thing was I was watching him guard Chet. Chet is so tall. And then when you're standing next to Wemby, he just looks even shorter. He just looks even shorter. It's kind of funny. It's funny. It's like Wembanyama is, I think, like a head. Like I was watching a head taller than Chet Holmgren, which I just thought was really funny. Really funny. But on OKC's side of things here, Hartenstein had 13 points. Holmgren had 10. Shea had 22. J-Dub had 12. Dort had 8. Off the bench, Caruso had 12, and that was the leader there. One thing this team lacks, if they lack anything, is the inconsistency because they are still young. Holmgren's young. J-Dub's young. Shea is even a little younger. Their bench is very young besides Caruso, really. And Chet has really slowed down. He hasn't been dropping 20 points, and I think you need that. You need that 20 points. J-Dub needs to start giving you more points. Just those two co-stars, and I'm kind of saying the same thing for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Randall and McDaniels need to do way more than they're doing. Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, they can do a lot. And obviously Shea had an off day today, still had over 20 points, which I think he's had over 20 points in like 100 straight games or something like that. But obviously it wasn't enough. And sometimes co-stars are so important. In my opinion, co-stars are the most important player on the team. Because if your star's having a little bit of an off night, because hey, we're all human, we all have off nights. You need that other person to help, carry that team. Because, think about Jokic. Say Jokic has an off night, which he never does. Jamal Murray is normally going to have a good night as well. So he can normally carry that team. There's been some instances where Jokic only has like 15 points and then Murray goes off for 40. That's a true co-star where he'll help you, or even when Jokic is performing 56 freaking points, Jamal Murray then also last night, Jamal Murray had, I think, 35, 36 points. Yeah, let me look. Murray had 35 points last night, where that was a combined like 91 points for Jokic and Murray combined of the 142 points scored by the Denver Nuggets. That is what you need from your co-star. So that's why I keep talking. Like, I don't know if Julius Randle or Jaden McDaniels are those true co-stars because they just don't do enough offensively. Sure, they're good defensively, but you can find a lot of elite defenders in the NBA. But you need some scorers. You need a true co-star. But like, kind of same thing here. Holmgren, Williams, y'all got to step up. Y'all are going to get paid big money. You are getting paid big money, and you got to step it up here, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I go off where this co-star thing. But yeah, I mean, the Spurs outplayed them. The Spurs have outplayed them. I mean, it hasn't really been close. Sure, it was close game one, but that was also I believe this was the in-season tournament final. So it's kind of, playoff games are always going to be a little bit more close. But the Spurs blew them out by 22 days ago. And then on Christmas Day, 2 days later, or a day later, basically, they blow them out by 15 points. So they have a plus, what? So 20 plus 50, plus 35-point differential, plus 37-point differential between these three games. The Spurs have already taken that series. They lead it 3-0. Even if the Thunder win the next two, they still lose the series 3-2. And in a 7-game series, I think the Spurs right now take over and they beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. That's my opinion. Obviously, it's going to change probably. It's fluent, as we like to say around here. But yeah, something to be worried about Oklahoma. This team, and then I believe the Nuggets, and I believe the Timberwolves. Those are your three threats. Those are your three threats to your going back-to-back finals appearances, because those three teams are also very good. They all got a star. Do they have co-stars? Maybe not all of them, but the Spurs have like tons of stars. I mean, my goodness, you got Wemby and Harper coming off the bench, and then you have Castle, Vassell, Fox, and Barnes on your starting. That team's young, but that team is good. And that's just something where I'm thinking kind of, this is what I keep saying about the New York Giants. Next year, they're going to have a top 2 pick, more or less. They're going to have Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo, Abdul Carter, Malik Neighbors, and then whoever they draft with this first or second overall pick. That team is going to be young, but they're all young and talented players. So this is where I'm kind of thinking the Giants could be either in this upcoming NFL season or the next one, 2027, because I do believe once you hit on draft cap pieces, once you hit good draft, once you draft well, those players making less salary so you don't have to pay them as much, and then you can see the Spurs, like I believe Castle, Vassell, and Harper are all making under $10 million. Obviously, they would all probably, once they get their salary, unless they have gotten their pay raise already, they're going to probably be making $20 to $30 million a year because they're all that good. They're all that elite. And obviously, the salary cap disallows that to happen. So, those players, I doubt, are all going to be on the Spurs for a very long time. But you guys can capitalize it right now and win a couple championships, hypothetically, because use this young team. Because It's a skill to have. And, kind of same thing with the Thunder. Even if SGA and Holmgren got their super maxes or something like that, they still got a lot of young people off the bench that are making not a lot of money. So it's going to be just really interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Thunder take a step from here, and then how the Spurs, continue. Do they continue going on a crazy win streak? Possibly. I mean, I think who do the Spurs play in a few days, I believe. They play the Jazz tomorrow. Great. I mean, so yeah, they play the Jazz tomorrow, then the Cavs, the Knicks, the Pacers. And that finishes out basically the 2025 calendar year. Yeah, the Pacer game is on the second, but then, I mean, you play the Timberwolves on January 11th. I kind of low key want to go to that game. Low key want to go to that game maybe. Oh, and then you play like this stretch here in January is interesting. You got the Timberwolves, well, the Celtics, the Lakers, not really. Celtics, who you could lose to. I mean, on every other night, maybe the Celtics will win a game or something. And then you got the Timberwolves, you got the Thunder, you got the Timberwolves again. You got the Rockets. January is an interesting stretch, or the end of January, middle of January is an interesting stretch for the Spurs. But right now, I mean, they'll beat the Jazz, they'll beat the Cavs, they'll beat the Knicks, they'll beat the Pacers, they'll beat the Blazers, they'll beat the Grizzlies. They'll probably go 6-0 in their next couple of games here, which means then they'll improve to 29-7, and in threat of and then the Thunder, maybe they end up losing games. They play the 76ers on Sunday, and then they play the Hawks. They play maybe they lose to the Warriors, so they'll probably go 3-1 or something like that in their next 4, and they'll be tied, which means the Spurs will be the number 1 seed, hypothetically, if that happens. So yeah, I don't know if the Thunder are going to finish number 1 now. They might even finish 3 or 4. It's a hot take, but we'll see. They're still a good team. It's just we got to be aware. Thunder, it's a good wake-up call here that the Spurs are not that far away, but you also can beat them if you figure it out as well. I believe in them for sure. But that's enough for the Spurs game. Let's get to the Timberwolves game. Oh boy. 142-138. In an overtime thriller last night. Let's start over here. Denver, Jokic dropped 56 points, 16 rebounds, 15 assists. Jamal Murray dropped 35 points, 2 rebounds, and 10 assists. They were without Christian Braun, Cam Johnson, and Aaron Gordon, but still were able to get that win, pull that win out, which means they have taken all 3 games so far over the Timberwolves. So the Nuggets right now have the Timberwolves number. They were without 3 of their starters. Still, Jokic did his thing and took over in 43 minutes of time, including overtime time. But Anthony Edwards had 44 points in 42 minutes. He got ejected. He did get ejected after a second technical foul. So he basically got a technical foul in the start of overtime, and then he got another one and was ejected, and that's where you said, okay, they're going to lose this game. However, let's take you back. Let's take you back a little bit here, where Minnesota was down 15 points at one point in the second half, and then came like crazy in the fourth quarter. They scored 37 points in the fourth quarter compared to 23 points by the Denver Nuggets in the fourth quarter. The Nuggets scored 35 in the third quarter, while the Timberwolves scored 23. So each of those teams had a very big quarter in the second half. Minnesota was on a crazy run to close out overtime, and then Anthony Edwards kind of did his thing. I want to find it. I want to find it for y'all, because if you haven't seen it, with 1 seconds left, sends this game into overtime with a clutch 3. I mean, it's insane. It is insane, bro. It's insane what he was doing. I want to see the full. Yeah, so here it is. Here's the this is just a clutch bucket. I hope the visual is good, but here it is.
Jaden McDaniels will do the honors to get it in bounds. Gets it in, turning a 3 for the top.
I mean, I don't know.
Is he going to give us an extra 5?
I don't know how he hit that. I just don't know how he hit that, but that sent it to overtime. Then we had a 9-0 run in the first 2 minutes. In the first 2 minutes of overtime. And then in the last 3 minutes, Denver scores 27 points. 27 points in the last 3 minutes of overtime. It was absolutely like a NBA 2K game. But yeah, it felt like that all day. It kind of felt like that all day because you got 140, 238. That's like 2K kind of score. But also, Jokic, 56 points, 16 rebounds, 15 assists. That very well sounds like that sounds like a 2K score as well. But I mean, yeah, there's a lot to break down from here. I feel like if Anthony Edwards hadn't gotten ejected, I think they probably would have won that game. It's unfortunate that he got ejected, and then also Gobert and DiVincenzo also fouled out. Like your three best players right now, and I know I'm saying, hey, Julius Randle showed up last night. He played he put up 32 points, which is great. McDaniels put up 21 points, great, but we need more. We need more from you. We need that almost every game. Sure, I won't say necessarily that's bad today. They played great. They played great, but I need you to do that more often. But anyway, Gobert and DiVincenzo, while Randle and McDaniels have been struggling, have been some of your best players other than Anthony Edwards, and I do not want you fouled out, but the refs fouled them out, and here's the thing. Julius Randle had 4 fouls. McDaniels had 5 fouls. Gobert had 6. DiVincenzo had 6. And then Edwards only had 1. 4 of your 5 starters were in the trouble of fouling out because they call everything on Jokic. It's annoying. It's just like SGA. It's annoying because all the superstars get all these fouls when somebody just bumps into them, and then Edwards doesn't get anything called on him. I just think the refs hate Edwards for some reason. They eject him twice. Like they have given him 2 technicals, so they eject him in overtime. Something just doesn't seem right about the refs in Minnesota. But hey, it's probably like that for all of the different teams in the NBA. But except maybe the Thunder. And I know. I mean, Watson and Jones both had 4 for the Nuggets, but they weren't really in foul trouble. I guess Murray had 3, Jokic had 2. But, I mean, in general, we had a lot of fouls, and so that needs to get better for sure. But I need Gobert and DiVincenzo just do not foul out. Like, DiVincenzo can give you some clutch buckets. He had an awful night. He did not hit a 3-point shot. He was 2 of 11 from the floor, 6 points. But even if you would have given me 10 points, DiVincenzo, if you would have given me 1 3 and 1 more free throw, because you did not miss a free throw. If Julius Randle wouldn't have missed his free throw, and then DiVincenzo would have given me another 3, that would have been a tie game. Like, you could say that could be it. If McDaniels hits another 2, I mean, he hit a clutch 3 down the road without it. Edwards. Gobert, I give you the pass because you were guarding Jokic, you were doing well. You were doing well on Jokic. Hey, I'm not going to say that. Hey, Bones Hyland, congratulations. 11 points off the bench in 23 minutes, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. I like that. I like that a lot. But then Conley in 10 minutes, Terrence in 10 minutes, Clark in 5 minutes. Altogether, only 2 points. And that's from Jalen Clark. We need a bench. We don't have a bench no longer. Naz Reid and Bones Hyland are our only bench players. They've, I guess, gone away from Rob Dillingham. Johan Berenger is just not ready yet, and I understand that. But I think Rob Dillingham probably going to get traded. They just don't like him. They don't like him. I'd trade Shannon and Dillingham and maybe Julius Randle for Giannis or someone like that. I'm going to keep throwing on the Giannis trade ideas because I think that would be a great trade for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that gives you your true co-star that I keep wanting, but I think that helps you beat guys like Jokic as well, and Wembanyama too. Because going down the road, we know we can beat the Thunder. we can't really beat the Nuggets right now, but we've beaten them before, and I think in a 7-game series we probably could. I'm not quite sure because we haven't played the Spurs with Wemby yet. We played the Spurs without Wemby and we killed them. But with Wemby is a different game. We'll figure that out when they play each other. They play each other a couple times in January, so that's going to be fun to watch for sure. But I'm not quite sure what the Timberwolves need to figure out. I think, Anthony, you got to chill a little bit. You don't take all these technicals because I believe they got like 6 free throws off those technicals. It was stupid. It's like, why do you keep getting free throws? But yeah, because of those technical fouls, I think maybe even Finch got a technical as well. It just doesn't make sense. A lot of technicals giving you the free points. So Ant needs to quiet down. He needs to mature. And that's why I think you got to keep Conley around because Conley really cools him down. And you need somebody to cool him down because he gets so... Because, yeah, I mean, he's driving. He gets slapped hard on the arm. They don't call a foul. I mean, he still ends up getting the bucket, but it should be an and one and stuff like that. And even Chris Finch, Micah Nori, I saw him get kind of riled up on the sidelines as well. Just give us the free throws. Like, it's obvious fouls that you just keep missing. It just kind of gets annoying, you know. But Anthony needs to chill. You can't just be, you know, screaming at the refs because they can eject you. That happened. And I in a way, I think, you know, that's kind of what lost the game. You just lost it because once you lost Gobert, once you lost DiVincenzo, then you lost Edwards. You lost 3 of your 5 starters, and we know Randall and McDaniels aren't enough. And then you had, you know, Highland, who was playing with a messed up shoulder. You could see that he was in miscomfort. And, you know, Edwards, I think, was a little uncomfortable as well. But, I mean, he still dropped 44 points. Probably, I think he did well from fantasy. Yeah. If you guys I haven't been fantasy, and it's like, hey, just give me some good stat lines and I'll be fine. Because, you know, like, I drafted you with my like 3rd pick overall. Like, it was 3rd pick overall. I drafted Edwards over like Giannis and Wemby and stuff. It was just like I want my boy, and he's Ant-Man's been balling, and you know he balled again last night with 44 points. I do want to see, you know, how many points he got last night. I'm just kind of curious. 62 points. 62 points in ESPN Fantasy. Jamal Murray had 53. Dang. Man, I'm absolutely killing my opponent because I had Murray and Stephon Castle and Devin Vassell and Josh Hart and Jamal Murray. Wow. Anyway, back to the real talk. But anyway, yeah. I just don't know. It's unfortunate that he got ejected, but you got to chill off. And I think that could be the main lesson you learn from this. I think you would have won if Edwards would have stayed in the game. He was hitting shots. I think he could have got to 50 points for sure. 2 more threes would have got him there. He was 5 of 14 from 3. Not the best, but he hit in the last 2 seasons, he hit his total 400th career 3 in those last 2 seasons, which I thought was very interesting. He was second to do that. Only Curry has more in the last 2 seasons. So he's in good company there. But I really like Edwards. He really became that star last night, that superstar, and I think could be for sure the face of the league very, very soon. But yeah, no, it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for sure that you lose that one. I was thinking you were going to end up winning that game. But it is what it is. Here are the standings. Now, after those games on Christmas Day, you have the Thunder, Spurs, Nuggets, Lakers, Timberwolves, Rockets, all still in playoff spots. In the play-in spots, you have the Suns, Warriors, Grizzlies, and Trailblazers. And then out of playoff contention right now are the Mavs, the Jazz, the Clippers, the Pelicans, and the Sacramento Kings. And that's going to do it for our little NBA talk here. And then we will get into some NFL talk. There were 3 games last night. 3 NFL games last night, including the Vikings win over the Lions, the Dallas Cowboys win over the Washington Commanders, and then the Denver Broncos win over the Kansas City Chiefs, who now, you know, the playoff picture is almost completely set, I'm pretty sure. Except obviously the Texans and the Colts. So here, basically Texans will probably win on Saturday or tomorrow, that is, over the Chargers. That's my opinion. And then the Colts will be eliminated. And then we are just waiting for the Steelers or the Ravens. Who's going to come out of that division? And same thing in the NFC. We're just waiting now that the Lions lost, the Packers clinched. So now we're just waiting for the Panthers and the Buccaneers. Who's going to win that division? I got no idea. Obviously, seedings can be different. Will be the seedings, like what seed they are, will matter, and that's what teams will be playing for the rest of the season. But yeah, if the Niners win out, they basically are the 1 seed. And then that means Seattle would have to go on the road. So would the Rams. I mean, the Rams are eliminated from NFC West contention. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the Niners or the Seahawks, which I thought very interesting. I mean, most likely, I think if both they can't lose out because one team's going to win because they play each other. So 13 wins either for the Seattle Seahawks, and they have the tiebreaker over the Rams, and even 12 wins, they could even tie, right? So, I mean, if the Rams go 2-0, they have 13 wins. And even if that happens, the Seahawks, I think the Rams are officially out of NFC West division, like winning that division. So they're going to have to go on the road. That's crazy. And then either the Niners or the Seahawks are going to have to go on the road. We got to change the format for sure, but it's going to be interesting. The Vikings are eliminated, but somehow they're the 8th seed in the NFC. It's kind of crazy because they're 8-8. They're 8-8. They're at 500, you guys. My Minnesota Vikings are at 500. We'll talk about them in a second. But let's talk, though, about the Dallas Cowboys, who are 7-8-1. Dallas Cowboys, we're not going to spend a lot of time on this game because, this game was kind of sad. Josh Johnson, in his, I think, NFL debut, I'm not quite sure, threw 198 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, 15 of 23 in the loss to the Cowboys. Krosky Merritt had 2 touchdowns on the ground. And then, was it just a bunch of field goals? I think it was just a bunch of field goals. Yeah, 3 field goals, 11 points from Jake Moody. Brendan Aubrey had missed a field goal. So he scored 12 points for the Cowboys. As Dak Prescott had 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 19 of 37, 307 yards. He was missing a lot of receivers, but I mean, still able to throw for 307 yards. Receiving wise, George Pickens did not catch a touchdown. Kevontae Turpin caught a 86-yard touchdown. That was absolutely insane. CeeDee Lamb, 4 catches for 46 yards. And then Pickens 4 catches for 78 yards. But it wasn't really a great game. Dallas was up early. They were up like 24-10 at half, and then the score was closer than what it was. Both of these teams are just not going to make the playoffs, and I mean the Cowboys have a chance to go 8-8-1. The Commanders are 4-12, probably go 4-13 and just get a higher draft pick, and maybe you could use that to trade for somebody or draft somebody, of course. But that's all we're really going to talk about on that team. We'll talk about the Vikings next because that was the next game that was on the Snoop Dogg halftime show. That was fire. Go check that out if you haven't already. That was probably the best halftime show I had ever seen in my life. But the Vikings get it done with Max Brosmer, who threw only for 51 yards at 9 of 16. Did not throw a touchdown, did not throw an interception. Jordan Addison, a 65-yard rushing touchdowns, and then Aaron Jones had a touchdown on the ground, but then, of course, it was up to Will Reichert, 3 of 3 for field goals. He had a 56-yarder. That was his longest field goal, and I think he hit another 50-yarder. He scored 11 points for your Minnesota Vikings. Jake Bates hit a 48-yard field goal, and then 1 extra point, so he scored 4 points for that team. But the defense was the big story because the Minnesota Vikings defense had 6 takeaways, including, I believe, 2 interceptions. Because Jared Goff, 18 of 29, 197 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and then he lost like 3 fumbles. It was 6 total turnovers for the Detroit Lions. The Vikings were crazy. Hitman Harrison Smith was having one of his best games of his last season in the NFL. And Monroe was kind of quiet. Tesla did grab a touchdown. That was a pretty impressive touchdown grab. Jahmyr Gibbs was very quiet. The Vikings defense was really good. The Vikings defense was low-key good, and this shows you that the Minnesota Vikings, if they had a quarterback, they would probably be in the playoffs. And it's a shame. It is a shame that the Minnesota Vikings will not be in the playoffs with this defense because this defense is not going to get younger. Jonathan Allen's getting older. Harrison Smith is going to retire. He had, an interception, which was pretty darn nice for him in one of his final games in US Bank Stadium. But I mean, when you look at this whole defense too, it's getting older. It's not the youngest defense in the world. Obviously, you have Dallas Turner. Van Ginkel's in his 30s even. It's unfortunate that you're not taking this very good defense into the playoffs, of course. So Van Ginkel recovered 2 fumbles, Murphy recovered 1, and Redmond recovered 1. Receiving-wise, Jefferson, 4 catches for 30 yards, 0 touchdowns. Just another bad game for him, and I think he is not going to get 1,000 yards. I believe that game eliminated him unless he goes absolutely crazy, which I completely doubt it. So let's see. Justin Jefferson, how many receiving yards do you have this season? I'm not quite sure. He has 947 yards. So he needs 63 yards next game to get 1,000 yards because he has had 1,000 yards in every single year, I believe, of his career. Yep, and he is in jeopardy for the first time of not getting that. He has 2 touchdowns. It's so sad, bro. It's so sad. Sure, he had 5 touchdowns, but he also missed 10. He also missed 7 games in 2023, but still got 1,000 yards. He has been targeted one of the most times in his career. He just can't catch the ball. It's been a down year for him for sure. Are we wasting his career? Of course we are. But the big story is he needs 63 yards on Sunday. Otherwise, he will fall short of 1,000 yards for the first time in his 6-year career as a Minnesota Viking. He is 26 years old. But I really liked what I saw from the Vikings defense. Obviously, Max Brosmer, he sucks. He sucks for sure. But better than J.J. McCarthy because he did not, turn the ball over. And that's all I care about. If you don't turn the ball over and we win the game, hey, good, congratulations. Obviously, I want the Vikings to lose that game because that means, boys, guess what? The Minnesota Vikings, as I already showed you in the playoff picture standings, they are now 3rd place in the NFC North. Yep. Congratulations, Minnesota Vikings. Basically, also, if you win next game, you're going to finish 3rd spot. You want to lose. You lose to the Packers. Please lose to the Packers. But then even the Lions could technically even lose to the Bears. And yeah, we're stuck in the 3rd spot. And the difference in the schedule next year is insane. The 3rd place versus 4th place schedule is this. The 4th place schedule would play the Giants. The 3rd place schedule would get to play the Commanders. And the Commanders, they're going to be good next season. For the AFC West, it's whoever finishes 3rd place in the AFC West. So it could be the Niners, could be the Seahawks, could be the Rams. You don't want to play any of them? Well, the 3rd place team is going to have to play them. And I believe on the road as well. The 4th place team would have to play the Cardinals, which is very much easier. It's so much easier. And also the last difference I'll note here is you're playing the Titans instead of the Indianapolis Colts, that's a difference as well. So it matters. But guess what? Minnesota's just going to ruin their schedule, ruin their draft pick, because that's what Minnesota does. And, that's all I'm going to say about the Minnesota Vikings. And we got our final game. Final game to talk about here. It is the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Bo Nix, 13-3 now after this win. It was an ugly game, but hey, I want to say this. I'm going to defend Bo Nix a little bit here because I am a Bo Nix lover. Not lover, but I respect him a lot, and I like him a lot. Division games are always close. Division games are always close. You can always see the weirdest things happen in division games just because it's a division game. I don't care if Chris Olakrin was the quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs. By the way, he did not throw an interception, which was very interesting. So he has better numbers than JJ McCarthy. Bo Nix, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 182 yards, 26 of 38. He was sacked 7 times, or once out of 7 times. I'm not quite sure. RJ Harvey had that touchdown reception in the fourth quarter, which I really like that. Cortland Sutton made some great grabs, 4 catches, 40 yards. RJ Harvey, 43 yards on the ground, but that defense was low-key good as well. Obviously, there were no turnovers though, which Surtain was making some good tackles, and it was a fun game, to have on while I was trying to stay up for that Minnesota Timberwolves game, because that game didn't start till 10 p.m. at my time, so it was kind of crazy. Travis Kelce, in what may be his last game in Arrowhead Stadium, 5 catches, 36 yards on 6 targets. Kareem Hunt, Isaiah Pacheco, they couldn't really get that run game going at all. But yeah, Travis Kelce, we're going to take a moment here. This is all we're going to really talk about to close out today's show, because Travis Kelce has hinted at retirement, and he is one of the best tight ends of all time. No matter how much you dislike him, you have to respect Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce has been in the game for a very long time, all the way back. Let's go back to his rookie season in 2014, where he's been in the league since 2014. He has been really healthy. He hasn't really missed any games at all. He has over almost 13,000 receiving yards as a tight end. That is absolutely crazy. He's played almost 200 games. He has about 1,000 catches on about 1,500 targets, so he's catching the ball good. 82 touchdown, averaging 12.1 yards a catch, I believe. He hasn't really lost. He's only had 15 fumbles, so divide that by his 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12-year career. He's only at, fumbling. That's crazy. He rarely fumbles, so it's insane. Also you think about in the postseason, all the way since 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. He's been in the playoffs for that long. He just missed it the rookie season, and he'll miss it this season. But 2,000 yards catching in the postseason, 20 touchdowns, 25 games in the postseason for him. It's just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. He's made some Super Bowl appearances for sure. Won some Super Bowls. But yeah, when we look back at, the Hall of Fame jacket is waiting for him. One of the best tight ends of all time. Tight end stats all time, NFL. I'm going to pull this up here on Pro Football Reference, I think, or StatMuse. We could do that. And let's do StatMuse. It's the first one that came up. Obviously, Tony Gonzalez is on the top of this list, and then Jason Witten, but then Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, third all-time in receiving yards as a tight end. As games played, he's far less down the line. In games played, this website is not going well, bro. This website is not going well whatsoever. I'm gonna reboot it. He's just, for sure, one of the best, tight ends of all time, and you gotta respect him for that. And a Hall of Fame jacket, is waiting for him for sure. Touchdowns, he is second. No, he only has 82 receiving touchdowns. I wonder if total touchdowns is more. He is fifth all time in that list. Catches. What is he for catches? If this is just not going to go. All right, cool. But anyway, Travis Kelce, congratulations to an amazing career. Obviously, he could still end up, maybe playing one more season, but he's been hinting at, he's gonna probably retire. He's almost 37 years old, and that's old for a tight end. He hasn't been dominating the game, like he had been only, this season. He's got 73 catches, which is a significant decrease. Um, he does have 5 touchdowns, which is more than 2024, but Patrick Mahomes might not even play the next season due to his injury. So there's a lot of uncertainties for Travis Kelce. He'll obviously talk about it with a bunch of people he trusts and figure out, what he wants to do as a player. But yeah, congratulations, Travis Kelce. And that is where we're going to end it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed Christmas and had a wonderful time watching sports and spending time with family, but also remembering what is truly important, because Christmas is not about sports. It's not about, family in general. It is about the one who sent his own son to die on the cross for your sins. Jesus Christ came into the world and was the light of the world, was sent down from heaven. God sent his one and only son as a baby, as a innocent child, lived a perfect life, and then died for each and every one of you guys. He died for me. He died for you. On the cross. And if you haven't already, please confess your sins to him, and he will forgive you. He loves you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to keep God first, because he is the most important thing in your lives. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.